Troops, here we are, we're live. That means one thing, another epic guest, another Eagle podcast. We've gone international. We've got our first international guest coming all the way from Norway, Stephen Handley. Stephen, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, mate. Really chilled.
How's Norway? Not a country I've ever been to, but I'd love to go to.
Well, looking at the stuff you're doing, you'd love it. It's you know, lots of mountains and good walks, nature, lots of low population, so you can often be out on your own.
Cool.
Getting stuff done. So it's really nice.
What I've seen from your stuff on Instagram, you're a keen mountaineer. Is that has that always been the case, or is that because of being in Norway in such a beautiful country?
I would say deep down it's probably always been, but it's not something I practiced a lot. I guess when I was in the UK and I had work, I was working a lot. Probably didn't find the time, or of course I could have done, but I just didn't. I just got stuck into the normal patterns. But I've always liked the outdoors, and I've always enjoyed being physical and everything. So I think naturally and with inside, it was always there. And I did some things years and years ago, like the Three Peaks Challenge and stuff like that. Yeah, which I really enjoyed when I did it, but I didn't actively really pursue it and make time for it, I guess. But every time I did do something like that, I loved it. I enjoyed it.
I always find sort of the National Three Peaks, the Yorkshire Three Peaks, whichever one it is, that's almost a gateway for people to sort of say, oh, well, that was really fun. I wonder do you know what I mean? What more can I do? It really opens up the barriers for people to get into the outdoors. It is a country that I've seen a lot of, Norway, only via photos, and it looks like there's some special mountains. Weather-wise, compared to the UK, are the winters really severe? And there's this, like, how does it differ from sort of if I was mountaineering in the UK?
So I think it's a question I get quite a bit from friends and everything else, and also it's funny because before I come to Norway, same as you, I'd seen a lot of pictures and I had an idea of what Norway in my head, I guess, like snow, a lot of snow and this, but particularly where I am now, it's not really that much different from the UK. So I'm right on the south coast. The weather is pretty similar. Norway is a really long, like big country, so the weather varies quite vastly from down here to up north. So the typical north that I envisioned and you probably envisioned is more the north. Like harsh winters, dark. They have these long dark months, like 2-3 months of no sun, pretty much.
Wow.
But then in the summer it's the opposite. So it's like just
long summer days.
Long summer, you know, like midnight sun.
Wow. And living in Norway, how have you found sort of culturally and food wise? What sort of stuff are you eating over there and all that sort of carry on?
So the food is very similar to kind of old-fashioned British food, you know, meat, potatoes, gravy.
Yes, that's the fundamentals.
So it's quite traditional that way. And I live in a very rural or like middle of nowhere kind of small town. It's a little coastal town. There used to be a lot of things going on here, I think, like shipping wise. But that's moved to the bigger cities now. So now it's just a quiet town. Nice. So I guess here is probably still a lot more old-fashioned traditional than if you went to Oslo, for example. So culture-wise, it's small town culture.
Is fish heavy on the diet? I take it. I don't know why. I've got this like image of like Scandinavians just eating fish in Wales. I don't know why.
I think so. It's funny because the fish is in abundance here. Of course, I'm surrounded by water. There's a lot of fishing. But it's still really expensive in the shops. Everything's expensive in Norway, but surprisingly so is fish. But a lot of people, especially where I live here, they do their own fishing. So like my girlfriend's dad, he's got a little fishing boat, so he often goes out, and if he's had a good catch, we'll given all these, they make all these fish cakes and stuff. So really good. So yeah, we try and fish, and there's hunting as well. So a lot of the people, I haven't got my license yet, but a lot of people are doing hunting. So we get reindeer, elk. So,
oh wow, what's that? I hear Joe Rogan talking a lot about elk and sort of deer meat. What's that taste like? I've never had elk.
It's beautiful. Nice. I mean, it's not a stretch from beef really, but it's really nice. You know, really good meat.
You as a sort of a fitness guy, personal trainer, gym owner, is it heavy protein? Is it quite dense protein?
I mean, I don't go crazy as much as maybe I used to years ago. I was very much more into the bodybuilding side, and
right.
I guess quite typical of young guys in a way. Where I want to be big, muscles and ripped, and always want to be big. I always want to be leaner, but I'm less that kind of inclined now. I'm more. Yeah. I'm happy with the way I am, really. So I'm not trying to strive for anything. So I don't go crazy with it.
Fair.
But I do try and keep it up. I try and maybe have a general rule is to get about 2 times your body weight protein wise. So wow. I'm about 80 kilos. So I eat at least 160 grams of protein a day.
Right. Yeah. Nuts.
So which isn't high numbers really. So long as I'm getting that, I know I'm pretty much good mainly for the recovery and everything that I'm doing.
Obviously, I've found you on sort of through social media and stuff, and obviously yourself being an ex-soldier, Royal Welsh Afghanistan TOUR is the same as me. I had the privilege and the pleasure of serving with the Danish Army. In Afghanistan, and I'll tell you what, I've never felt more insecure about being a man as when I was serving with the Danes. Like. No wonder we had struggles with them back in the day. I was like, what are these guys being fed on? Like every single guy was like, you know, proper Viking sort of warrior, that Scandinavian generic sort of big muscular guy, shaved head or some sort of hair design. I was like, what is going on? Great people though, and obviously Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Scandinavia, they're very, very friendly people. How have you found sort of moving over there? Obviously, you must speak a little bit of Norwegian, do you now?
Yeah, so I've been. I probably could have spoke more than I have.
Right.
It's a very difficult language, but I've really been trying more this year, and I got a little boy now, so
cool.
I kind of use him to learn because he's of course learning language. So I'm learning with
bilingual.
Him.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's really helped me. Or he's helping me learn. So I mainly speak Norwegian to him.
That's class.
So that's kind of like my lessons every day in a way.
Yeah, brilliant. And obviously, you joined the army. Let's talk about your army career. Young lad, grown up South Wales, Cardiff. You must have been similar to me. Either you really wanted to join the army as a young lad, or opportunities in your local area were sparse. Maybe you didn't, like me, didn't do so well at school, and you thought, what's my options here? Luckily, I always wanted to join the army, so that's how I ended up in the army. What's your sort of background into it?
So I was actually pretty good at school. I didn't like school, but I was good at it, and I kind of managed to get away with doing minimal work and still getting good grades. But I always liked being outside, so I went through a period where I skived off a lot from school. I was always out, just wanted to be out climbing and doing stuff and just being active. And so from a very early age, I kind of already had in my mind that I didn't want an office job or to be going down the academic route like university. Yeah. So I was always looking at physical jobs. So whether that was going to be a trade or my main two, there was also the army and the fire service. I was very keen on joining the fire service. And I think as I was getting towards the end of school and looking at my options and career path, I started asking more about the fire service, and pretty much everywhere I went. And I think at that time there was like a bit of it was quite a hard period, not taking on so many firefighters.
When we're talking, what was it, 2000 and what?
So that would have been leaving school now. I think that would have been, 2005 or something, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
And I think everyone I was speaking to within the fire departments, they were kind of saying, yeah, well, it's hard right now. And also we usually like to take people in their early 20s because we like people to be a bit mature and have some life experience.
Yeah.
All this stuff. So then I kind of thought, okay, well, in that case, then I might as well join the army, do my minimum 6 years, get that life experience, get out, maybe do the fire service.
Yeah.
That was like my loose plan. But I kind of had, I've always been quite logical thinking wise. So then I was like, well, I should probably get a trade. So I did car mechanics when I left school.
Cool.
So I did that for a few years. I did like just almost 3-year like apprenticeship.
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy it. I worked for a bit of a knob, to be honest. He was like a backstreet garage, and kind of just abused me as an apprentice, cheap labor.
Do you not think though, like, I think working for knobs or doing stuff like that, it all adds character. Like, I truly believe that, you know, there isn't really that many true bad experiences that you sort of need that, don't you, to think, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that was shit. But
yeah,
something to learn from, innit?
Yeah, it is. But I think sometimes there's different types of being like hard as well. Like sometimes it's just, he was just lazy really, and he was kind of just abusing me as cheap labor, and like I said, I wasn't a dumb kid, so I could see through it, and then I started getting a bit like
chopsy,
chopsy, or just seeing through it, and then starting just saying, you know, this isn't on really. Yeah. So in the end, I sacked it, and then I joined up for the army, but and I got in and everything. And at the time, my mother was going to be getting married,
right?
And they had a date set in the army. I had a selection date, etc., for the military.
Yeah. And
they basically said that you won't be able to get the time off for the wedding, in basic training. You know, the first so many weeks. So I put the date back for the military. So in the interim, I got a job. I had 2 jobs in the interim. I first got like a call center job.
Yeah, cool.
Which was also good in the way that, like, I hated it. It was such a boring job, and but it was good in the way that it confirmed my ideas or my perceptions of that I wouldn't want to do that kind of job.
Yeah.
So I did it for a couple of months, and just didn't enjoy the environment. Didn't really enjoy the atmosphere of the office. The way people were trying to climb over each other.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And it was so easy. Like, I think I went into this team. It was for remortgaging houses or something, and I was basically like a middleman between the actual lawyers or whatever that did the stuff. And you basically just give updates and all this different stuff. Really easy work, and you had targets to hit. And it was such easy work that I went into the team, and I think I was like the second top caller within the first couple of weeks, and then people started not liking that. And the thing was, I wasn't even trying. Like, I'd put my whole thing on hold. I'd go wandering for a coffee and just bored, sat down, come back, do some more calls, go back. I'd just look at my numbers and be like, yeah, that's fine. So it was just not challenging at all, you know?
It's funny you should mention that. Like, people's envy and jealousy is truly their own downfall. Do you know what I mean? Instead of and I'll equate it to social media because it's sort of relevant. Instead of sort of looking at someone saying, well, how are they doing so good and I'm doing so shit? Do you know what I mean? Like, like, don't look at that person and just think, well, I'm just going to hate them for no reason, or I'm going to be jealous or envy. Like, just work on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, just think, right, I need to up my game, you know, go 10x at it. Just double down and just, you know, not concentrate on any of that negativity or say, no, that new guy, you know, he comes in here, he thinks he's Tom, Dick and Harry and all that. And you wouldn't have even realised, would you? Do you know what I mean? You were probably just thinking about Friday night and sat there and all the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even important. I didn't even care. And that's probably part of it as well. Yeah. Because I just did the bare minimum that I needed to do on the phone. So my calls were really quick because I was like, well, this is my job. I don't need to do this extra stuff. That's for the lawyers. But of course, they were trying to make friends in the office. So they were basically getting passed back and forth to the lawyer because the lawyer couldn't be bothered speaking to them. I'd be like, nope, that's your job. Boom.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, my next call. So,
how long were you there for? Shout out to the call center workers in the world, because that is a fucking job and a half. That is.
Yeah. It was like 2 months. I think I did 2 months. And then I sacked that off, and I think I was just working in like a coffee shop actually for Sainsbury's.
Mint.
And I actually enjoyed that. I was on my feet, making coffee, speaking to people.
Yeah.
And it was literally just ticking over time. So I also knew I wasn't there for a long time.
Yeah.
And then when my mum got married, I went straight off into the military then.
Where did you do your basic training?
In Catterick.
Ah, nice. I live in Darlington. That's where I'm from.
Oh yeah, okay. So I've been a few weekends in Darlington.
No, and I'm always down Catterick Garrison. Actually, it's changed about 1 million times since you were there. Probably, it's actually a decent place now. But how did you find ITC? How was that interesting, I'd have thought?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think when I joined the army, I kind of bought into that whole be the best thing, you know, as cheesy as it was.
Absolutely.
And I think it was something that led to quite a bit of disappointment, actually, I think, within the military, because I wanted to be that survival expert level thing, you know. So I had this thing that I wanted to be like this kind of this raw military.
No, absolutely. I was the same as you, mate. Like I joined and like I hook, line and sinker, like that advert, be the best in the boots, halting at the end of it, and I was like, it got my dick hard. Do you know what I mean? Like that's when I went to Perb, right? And obviously your instructors are the best people from them regiments. But what you think is, you think everyone is at that level. And then you arrive at your unit. I remember arriving at my unit and I was met by a guy in the guard room. I don't think I've ever seen a fatter human in my life. I was like, who's this guy? Do you know what I mean? Well, who's this guy? What's he do? And it's like, all right. And then all of a sudden there's that like realism, isn't there? And then you think, yeah.
And then you realize you're just sat around most days playing on the Xbox or whatever it is that people are doing in their rooms. I mean, concurrent training. Like for me, I wish there was just concurrent training, you know, map reading, all this stuff going on in the week. But as you probably know, it's most of the time it's just hurry up and wait. You sat around. Doing practically nothing, unless an officer's visiting, and then of course you do like demonstration things, pretending that's what you normally do.
Yeah, do you know what? You're right. So you got through your Catterick experience, passed out. Phase 1, it's phase 1, phase 2, isn't it, at Catterick for you guys who infanteers? And then where was your first posting? Where did where was your unit based?
Chester. So
I
went to Chester. Yeah. They'd just come back from being based in Cyprus for a few years, I think. So
right.
I think they'd had a year or so in Chester before I got there. And I think I arrived and a lot of the guys, they were doing an exercise in Kenya. So most of them came back.
Grand Prix.
Me and a bunch of the blokes, other new blokes then, went out to Kenya to play enemy for someone else. I think another regiment was going there.
Yeah. Kenya was boss, wasn't it? I did Kenya Grand Prix, exercise Grand Prix.
Yeah. So I didn't actually do the exercise because obviously I just arrived and they were pretty much done with that. But we got picked to then go play enemy for another regiment. And I pretty much just got there. I didn't have any like summer kit, you know. So I had all my issued green kit, and then it was like straight out to Kenya with a bouncing bomb. So I was like, fucking nice one. And they gave me, and they give you those like malaria tablets, Larium or whatever it is. Recently been, everyone, I think there's a big thing about that now, that they give you like brain problems or something. I think some officers knew about it, but they let it go on anyway.
I never took shit, honestly. Iraq, Afghan, Kenya, I was like, I'm not taking this shit. Like,
so
all I do is read the side effects on the back of the box. I'm like, may incur nightmares, delusions, malaria, kidney problems, liver problems. I was like, what are the benefits of these tablets?
And piss in the bed.
So
I got there, and I think the first night I pissed the bed because of these tablets. And then obviously in my big fat bouncing bomb sleeping bag. So I was like, what the fuck? Brand new bloke as well. I was like,
beasted.
Had to hang this sleeping bag. And everyone, people that have been in it longer were like, it's those malaria tablets. So I stopped taking them as well, straight away. So,
I mean, you know, Kenya for me was a great experience. I literally got to my unit, and then a week later, I just remember someone saying, "Fancy going to Kenya?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll go to Kenya." I was the same as you. I was like, I think I was 6 weeks out of phase 2, and then before I knew it, I was in Kenya, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is amazing!" And we did Archer's roast, all that training area. It was class. Like I absolutely loved it. But I know what you're saying. I've actually sort of said to the people who are still serving, who I sort of know, look, you know, I do mountaineering now, right? I can go and do leadership stuff for you, you know, all these blokes who are sitting around on a daily basis doing nothing, and let's be honest, that's what they're doing. Yeah. I'll happily take them out, and we'll go and do the Lake District, and we'll go down to North Wales, and we'll go to Scotland, and we'll go and do some good stuff. Yeah. And it's like, you just don't get any traction. Do you know what I mean? It's like, all right, then just lose them in 3 or 4 years' time when they can sign off, because they're absolutely fredders of sweeping floors that don't need sweeping and cleaning rifles that don't need cleaning.
Yeah. It's just, I don't understand why they don't do it. You know, there's stuff that doesn't cost anything, like map reading, like the amount of blokes that couldn't read a map and stuff. And, you know, unless you do an NCO card, you don't really get taught it properly, and unless you've taken it upon yourself to learn how to read a map. You have these lessons, you know, once or twice a year, which no one remembers. And a lot of the blokes are not, like you mentioned before, not that academic. A lot of the guys.
Absolutely. I've had sort of people come out with me on the stuff that I do, and they're like, yeah, mate, I'm a good map reader, and I'm like, oh yeah, do you want to do the first leg then? And they're like, oh well, just, you know, let us sort of get me rhythm first. Get your rhythm. Yeah. What does that mean? Let me get me rhythm. All right, and mate, yeah, I'll tell you what. You just follow me all day. How's that? And let me know when your rhythm comes back in. And do you know what I mean? Some people are sort of just full of it, aren't they? We spoke before the podcast. Obviously, you joined. I was in. The Afghan tours came thick and fast, mate, didn't they? Let's talk about Afghan and you know, I'd done Northern Ireland and I'd done Iraq, but when I got to Afghan on Herrick 8, I was like, "Fuck me, this is Vietnam." Do you know what I mean? That's where I was at.
Yeah.
And even though I was artillery, that meant nothing. Like, I was in the thick of it, as you was in infantry. Do you know what I mean? Like, just fucking bosh. There you go. Have that. Talk about your tours. How did you find your first sort of tour in Afghan?
So it was a pretty kinetic tour. So we did Herrick 10. Mm-hmm. Which was 2010. That
summer, Herrick 10 was a summer tour, wasn't it?
It was like winter into summer, so we went out December and then come back, obviously, summer. So I think end of 2009 going into 2010, I think it was. And it was good. Like, I enjoyed it. Again, I think I'd been in battalion for maybe a year or something. Yeah. Straight out onto that. So for me, it was actually pretty good because I did my training, had a bit of a quiet period for a bit, and then of course straight into the training for Afghan, which, as you know, is a lot more physical training and exercises and stuff. So actually, I felt like I was doing the shit I wanted to be doing, and then I was excited and looking forward to going on tour and being a soldier.
Was that your first operational tour? The first Herrick you did?
So that was the first. That was my first tour, and I was a Valen man and a sharpshooter.
Yeah, I'll just explain that. Valen man was you were the guy with the metal detector at the front for the people listening, which is a bit like cleaning fucking shark's teeth with a very short fucking brush, isn't it? I also did a bit of valening. And that's a hard gig. And unfortunately, if you was a Tom or a Crow or new or whatever you are, that was your role, wasn't it? Pretty much, the newish guys got.
Yeah, I mean,
Valen and that sort of role.
Yeah, I mean, usually it was one of the new guys, and preferably, obviously, one of the slightly more switched on new guys, because
you had to be switched on, because absolutely.
So I think usually the not so clever new guy usually gets carrying all the shit. Yeah, like the chub, the ECM chub.
If you're carrying it, it's because you're a plank of wood.
So we had that, but no, I mean, but again, I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed leading from the front, and absolutely. And I had quite a bit of, you know, I did the route selection and stuff. Yeah. So I really did lead. I wasn't told exactly where to go. I knew the rules, you know, not to go the obvious routes and stuff. So I had a bit of freedom to do that, and you know, we did well. I found a lot of IEDs, and I had one big find. I searched some haystacks, and I found like 150 IEDs.
Just
components to make other stuff.
Yeah, IDs, improvised explosive device bombs for those people listening. But yeah, no, it's it was it was a harrowing experience, and sort of what you're saying there is when I did Valen and when I was in the army, and I did sort of Northern Ireland as well, the back end, is and I do it now in my mountaineering. I'll be walking along a track and I'll be like, right, we're going up over here, and they're like, well, why don't we just go down there? And I'll be like, vulnerable point, vulnerable point, line of sight, ridge line, command write your ID, we're going up here, and they're like,
ground sign.
Yeah, people like that. What is he talking about? Why are we now walking in the middle of nowhere, trudging through bogs? I'm like, there's no way the enemy would come through this bog to put a mine, so we're going through. No, it's interesting.
I used to like use it. It was like my little bit of own back as well, because the sergeant, our sergeant, he was like a short guy, you know. And he was from North Wales, and we kind of had a little bit of friendly banter because I was a bit of a cocky soldier as well. I was super fit. And like I said, I was confident in my skills, and it went most of the time it was good, you know, like a lot of the senior blokes I got on with very quick, so I didn't get treated so much as a super crow. I got in quite well with some of the senior bods. I was out drinking with them, and you know, because of this ability of doing the job, I had a little bit of respect, and it was good. And anyway, like, he used to give me a bit of shit, obviously, like friendly banter, and I used to get my own back because he was a short bloke. I'd always pick like long crossings, like things that were easy for me to jump over, and he would. I just hear on the radio, "Handley, you little dickhead." So I'd have my little. That would be like my little giggles for the patrols.
And sort of your first. How did you find your first tour? Like everything from landing in Kandahar to going to Bastion on a Herc to the accommodation. I mean, the hardest thing for me was the RSOI package. That first few days, man, that's fucking hangout city, wasn't it? Like 15-hour days, just stand after stand after stand. And I mean, I was like, get me on my patrol base or get me to my fob or wherever we're going. I was like, fucking brutal, yeah.
It was good. I mean. So my first tour, as I mentioned, was really kinetic, and we had a very packed tour, and we went to a new area. So we were part of, I don't know if you've heard of Op Mostarak.
Oh, right, okay.
Op Mostarak was at the time the biggest air assault since, I think, World War II or something.
Wow.
And it was a big joint task force with the whole of the like America, Danish, everyone, cool. the whole of NATO, you know. So I think there was a lot of different areas, and we went into a brand new area, which was good in a way because it was a new area, and it was where a lot of the Taliban were based. They hadn't smashed the area with IEDs yet because they were living there or staying there, and so we basically dropped in on them, and then basically fought them, pushed them out, took over, and built our own little compounds. So we went in, you know. Did the usual, paid the family some money to go live with a relative, built up, sandbagged it all up, and then we defended that spot and basically just patrolled every day, pushing back the forward.
The enemy. So kicking them.
So our job then was just to keep on pushing out the areas and just making that radius bigger. And pushing them back. So it was literally out fighting almost every day. Which was good, and you know, you get used to it so quick. Like,
what was the word?
The adrenaline starts going to the point where you're just walking around, bullets coming past you, and
it was
just not phased.
We did a bit of Winnie Hill. We did a bit of Fibua. What was it? Fighting in some cunt's house. That was the saying, wasn't it? Fish fighting in some cunt's house. Something like that. It's so you come back from your first tour. How long until you hit your second tour of Afghan?
So then I was
year and a half, 2 years.
We had about a year and a half.
Fucking hell, it's nothing, is it?
For the next tour, so we come back. So we very much come back. Had about 6 months of, I say downtime, but you know, just chilled out stuff, and then started training for Afghan again, pretty much. So it was straight back into rotation.
And were did you go back out there as a lance corporal or a corporal, or where were you at? Were you still front man, Valen man?
No, so I was a bod, and then so I was actually on a promotion ban because I before the first tour, I think I got some anger issues, and I beat up a TA lad in our unit, and then I was on a promotion ban for a year. So I got back. I was still on a bit of a promotion ban, but then I went over to reconnaissance. So
yeah,
I don't know if you can hear me actually.
Yeah, I've got you, mate. Yeah, no, I've got you. Just it's just going a little bit funky, but it's cleared itself out. Yeah, so a promotion ban, yeah, and then you went back out to Afghan as just a bod.
Yeah, I've been reconnaissance. So
yeah,
we come back from that first tour, and my previous platoon commander, that I had in the rifle company, he went and he took over reconnaissance.
Yeah,
and he'd like requested for me to go over to there, so I followed him over, and then I spent the time then training for Afghan with the reconnaissance platoon.
Yeah,
and then my second tour I went out with them. So it was cool.
Reconnaissance again, for them people out there listening, is you're much more. You are the forward force, so you encounter a lot more sort of problems, and you're sort of recce in the front, aren't you, for the main body forces who are coming behind you. So you're very much, you are the tip of the spear, is what Stephen's saying with the reconnaissance. So is this you now in the recce platoon out there driving around? What were you in at the time? Wimics, or was the vehicles better by that point?
We were Jackals.
Ah, right, okay, right.
So we were out in the Jackals, but we were still mostly foot patrolling.
Right.
We used the Jackal to go back to the main fob to do replens and stuff, but most of the time we were out on foot, not really patrolling very often in the vehicle, just because of the location we were in. It wasn't really feasible to be doing that or beneficial, you know.
Yeah.
So most of the stuff we needed to be on foot, getting across the fields and everything, and clearing areas. Yeah. So, but it was funny because that tour was actually, compared to the first tour I did, it was relatively quiet. You know, we didn't get into it wasn't daily fighting. Yeah. And it got and to a point where I remember not just me, but a few of the boys, and like most of the people in recce, the recce platoon is usually full of some of the more experienced soldiers or switch-on blokes. So it's nice being in recce because you get a lot more leeway and independence. Like, you're trusted to just get the job done. So you feel like you were the big boys.
So I know what you're saying there, because when I went back for the second time, I sort of went back out there with my gum shield in, ready to rock and roll again. And I think about a month into it, I was like, where's everyone gone? Like, where's all the gadgets gone? Because I've come for a tear up here, and now I'm being told, oh, well, the Taliban's tactics obviously changed. And obviously this is where your injury comes into it, because the threat, the IED threat was huge, wasn't it? In the sort of mid to late Herricks, the IED threat was like the nightmare, wasn't it? That was the one.
And I think, as I mentioned, with the first tour, we went into an area that no one had been before. So there wasn't as much IEDs planted by that point. But the second time we went into an area where the army has been, or the British military has been in and out of. So I think they've had periods where they left and they went back to it and all these things. So obviously with all those interim periods where no one was there, they were able to get in and just cover the place with IEDs. So there was IEDs everywhere, and IEDs that have been there for years between all these different periods. So there was a lot of stuff out there with that. But yeah, the fighting wise, we were almost bored. You know, we were like. And you know, all the blokes, like I said, are all like experienced fighters. So we were all a little bit like, fucking hell, shit. And then all of a sudden, it was like, boom! We had a period then of a few weeks where it was really crazy. Like, we had snipers. I think they brought in like Chechen snipers and stuff like this. So
foreign fighters.
So we had like, I think, because we had a couple of little bases around with. We had like mortars, platoon.
Where were you based? Where was this?
So this was, do you know Fabulet?
What?
It was south of Sangin. It was a little bit south of Sangin.
Fuck.
So yeah, so we were there, and we would just had our own little compound that we made that was built up. So we were just out on a forward operating base, going from there. And I think there was like another little forward operating base not far from us with one of our other fire support. I can't remember if it was like anti-tanks or something. That was there. But anyway, one of those guys got hit with a sniper, and then I got hit on a patrol. So I was just on foot patrol, just a regular foot patrol.
Yeah.
And going along a field and stood on IED.
Right.
So
were you Valen at that moment, or were you further down the chain, like talking?
So actually, I wasn't Valen for Recce, but I was trained from before. Yeah. And we had a different Valen man, and I was usually like with the GPMG,
right,
etc.
Yeah, yeah.
Or just with a normal rifle. So it depended on what the task needed.
Yeah, yeah.
But one of the guy who was the regular Valen man, he had his R&R, which we actually swapped R&R dates. Me and this guy. I can't remember why we swapped. I think because his R&R was around my birthday or something. So we swapped. And anyway, so he was out on R&R, so then I was taking over Valen for this days, and I think a lot of, like everything else, a lot of things led to it. What happened? I mean, I think it can always be prevented. I think anyone that like stands on ID or whatever and doesn't want to blame their own skills, it is the way it is, and I think the sooner you accept that, instead of trying to blame everything else, the better. Like there was things I could have done better. There was things that probably other people could have done better that led to it. But anyway, we were going up this field, and we were getting towards a crossing point, so obviously a vulnerable point. Yeah. And we swung. As we were coming up the edge of the field, I spotted some ground sign, which I suspected to be an ID. Yeah. So I pulled in left to come back into the field and pointed it, told the next man, who was a dog handler from the RAF. Yeah. And we'd had some issues with this guy pretty much the whole time. He was just not a very switched on bloke, not passing on messages, etc. So anyway, I swing into the field. And as I'm in the field, I look and I can see the third man, which is my platoon commander, one of my best mates, Chatty, come in towards where I think I just saw that ground sign. So I was like, whoa, stop. And I was like, look to your right. Do you see like this disturbed earth, etc.? He was like, yeah. I was like, fucking get away. And then I started having a go or shouting at this dog animal, what you're not passing on messages again, blah, blah. And I don't know at what point in this argument, but either way, I'm having a go at him. And then all of a sudden, boom, I think I must have taken a step, and I was distracted, took a step, got blown up. So there was another ID in the field.
Okay, no.
So, and then funnily enough, or maybe not so funny, obviously I was in the air, seeing the tops of the trees, and kind of straight away knew I'd just been blown up. So I was, and of course I've seen this before, and I've had experience with it. So, legs, so I landed on the ground, and my shoulder was really hurting because I landed on my shoulder, and I was just thinking, okay, I've just got blown up. Let's have a look at the damage. So had a look down, and sure enough, I think like my left leg was gone completely, my left foot, and then my right was just hanging by some skin. So I was like, right, okay. And then by this point, the medic, because we had a medic on patrol, he started making his way to me, and patching me up, squaring me away. Oh,
sorry, mate. I don't know what happened there. Right at a very fucking critical moment as well. That's technology, folks. So you were saying the medic made his way towards you.
So the medic got to me, and he's doing all his medic stuff, telling me what's up, what the situation is, etc. And I remember there was a point, I can't really remember if he was there by this point or if I'd done this before he got there, but after I seen my legs, obviously I checked my man bits. Yeah, absolutely. And I remember putting my hand down, having a feel, and I lifted my hand up to see, and it was just bits of skin and blood and all this.
Fucking hell.
And my heart just sunk, and I was like, oh fuck. And then my thumb started throbbing, and I looked and I had a big hole like out of my thumb. So I was like, oh fuck. So I wiped it clean, checked again, and it was, you know, it was all good. So
yeah,
all that was okay. So I was like, okay.
That's a story that I've fucking heard about 1,000 times from people who have done, you know, similar things. Like that, it's almost like, I know my legs are gone, but as my dick and my balls still there, like
yeah,
yeah, and fair enough. So obviously, you're 9-lined out of 30, like back to Bastion.
I hit another ID after, so I got blown off the stretcher as well.
Fucking hell.
So you know that ground sign I said before?
Yeah.
The one that the message didn't get passed on about. When they got me on the stretcher, they took me down the side of the field, and that thing I seen was an ID. So the medics stood on it, and we got blown up again. But luckily, like I mentioned, this area I think has had IEDs there for so long that
legacy.
I think it was like kind of inert, so it was only a partial detonation. So luckily, it was like enough to blow us all over. The medic had like, I think 8 fractures from his ankle to his foot or something.
Fuck, that is fucking brutal.
So I remember going through the air off the stretcher and just thinking, for fuck's sake. And
I don't mean to laugh, man, but only in true fucking military fashion can anyone think like, I don't fucking believe. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I bet. Did someone crack a joke as well? I bet someone like fucking cracked a bit of a thing as well. Like, Jesus, we're not stepping any more fucking bombs today.
Yeah, well, it was like so. My mate Chai, who was on the stretcher party, or one of those guys, he kind of come up and I thought maybe I was blind because I think I had on mud in my eyes. Yeah, I was like, fuck, I can't see. And he tipped water on me and washed my eyes. And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, am I more fucked up now? Am I? And he just looked at me and he looked me up and down and went, nah, I think you're the same amount of fucked up. So I was like, all right, cool. And then one of the guys, Murphy, he was like, obviously stood further back or taking a knee. And I heard him, Handley, mate, are you all right? I was like, I've been blown up twice, you dickhead. No, I'm not all right. He was like, yeah, sorry, mate.
Are you all right? Yeah, I've just been blown up twice in the space of an hour, you fucking lunatic. Yeah, no, I'm fucking brilliant.
That was like a stupid question. But yeah, and then I just looked at Chai and I was like, right, just fucking get me out here now then, is it? And he was like, all right. And so then we waited for the helicopter and I think it took about half hour, I think. And then I was off to Bastion. Woke up, that was on a Saturday. I woke up on the Sunday in Bastion, and luckily I think the flights were every Sunday and Thursday at that point. So I was on the flight the next day then. I think there was an Estonian guy on my flight who actually had exactly the same injuries as me. Double baloney amputee. So we got flown back and started the process for treatment, rehab and everything else.
Fucking hell. So you lost did you lose your legs below the knee? Yeah. Right. Okay.
Both below.
That is like, people who don't know, like if you're gonna lose your leg, like you fucking pray, don't you? Like it's below the knee, because then you can. Obviously, you know, when we talk about your Instagram and stuff, you live an active life. Do you know what I mean? And I see you on the track running. You're super physical guy. You've got stuff planned for 2020, Matterhorn, etc. So you're living an active life. But where'd you go back to? What you call it?
It was in Birmingham. Birmingham Hospital. Selioc, is it now?
Selioc, is it? Yeah. So
I can't remember them. No, it's is it Queen Elizabeth Hospital or something, I think.
And obviously, the team at Bastion, some of the like the work that they did there was like groundbreaking, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? The amount of blokes and people who they saved was just unbelievable, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like that hospital in Bastion was just next level.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was full up of horse tranquilizer or whatever they give me. Ketamine.
Yeah.
So I don't have much
recognition,
visual experience of it, but no, I mean, I'm here. They squared me away.
Yeah.
And it's been, you know, considering how big of an injury it was, I had a fast recovery and a fast, it's been, 2012. So 7 years and the way I've come in 7 years and the things I've done, it's quite crazy actually when you take the time and sit and think about it.
Yeah, no, it's
and that wouldn't be without the guys at Bastion that squared me away, and everything else. So yeah, it's funny because I don't know who they are. That's the mad thing. I don't know what they look like, who they are, or whatever. But if they are listening to this, or maybe
no, you know, absolutely, and that whole experience is absolutely savage, and it's life changing. But on a positive note, look like where you are now. Do you know what I mean? And the things that you're doing now, you've turned a really shit situation, and you've gone, right, well, I can be here, or I can push on. And you know, people only have to check out what you're doing online and on social. You know, you're really, really pushing forward, and living a super active life. And you know, it just goes to show, doesn't it, mate? Like life goes on, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like you can crack on, is what I'm saying. From
yeah, absolutely.
From super hardship like that.
You have a choice of what you're going to spend your energy and focus on. I mean, you can sit around and spend your energy and focus on all the things you don't have, or what you've lost, or whatever it is. Or you can do exactly the same, but focus on what you still have, or on what you can do.
Yeah.
And you know, it's going to give you a vastly different outcome for basically the same amount of energy, really. So it's just choosing where to put it, because it is energy. Whether you're thinking about negative and being negative, it takes energy. So you might as well use it doing something productive, or
definitely. We'll move on to the sort of close down of the show, but I definitely want to get you back on, because I don't want to try and shoehorn the rest of the story into what time we've got left. So definitely have you back on somewhere down the line to talk about sort of your rehab, where you went from there, and we'll get that in. But moving on to sort of the five what's. So the first one, okay, what's the greatest advice you've been given?
Yeah, I've never really had like a mentor or whatever, so I've never been given super good advice, I don't think, or anything in particular that comes to mind. I mean, I try and read quite a bit, so I've taken advice from books. And there was something my nan said, like my great nan. She's
shoot it.
More of a statement, but she used to always say, "It's what did she say?" She said it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. That's what she used to always say.
Yeah, so that is a great one.
I think it's just, and you can take that how you want, I guess. But I try and be a.
Sorry, troops, we've lost Stephen. Right, we're back. We're back in the game. Yeah. Sorry, mate. I don't know if that was you or me. I
don't know either.
Technology. But, I'll edit it. I'll saw it. Second one. What's on your bucket list?
So I've never sat down and written a bucket list, mainly because I think generally I want to do and try everything. So I haven't narrowed it down to like certain things. So generally I want to try everything. You never know what's going to be your passion, or you know, if you don't try things, you never know. Like I could be the best tennis player in the world.
Yeah.
Well, unlikely now, but I could have been the best tennis player in the world. But if you never play tennis, you're never going to know.
Yeah, no.
I'm always like quite a bit of a yes man for a lot of things.
So you're just going to go for it.
I pretty much just want to try everything, do everything. There are some things that I definitely want to do, like some mountains I want to crack.
Yeah.
Eventually, I probably want to have ticked off the 7 summits.
Yeah, that's a beast.
And so and many other things like that. But no, I haven't taken the time and sat to do a bucket list, mainly because I think I just want to fucking do and see everything.
Every day is your bucket list. I think I'm presuming I might know this one. What's your toughest day?
So.
If it's not the day you got blown up twice, mate, I don't know what else you've been doing in your life to fucking.
I mean, technically, it sounds like my toughest day, but honestly, it happens so quick, and it's so like you've got so much things going on that you don't have time to be like for it to be mentally tough in a way.
Yeah,
I guess the days after, or the days you wake up in hospital, are probably tougher days. than the actual day you get blown up, if that makes sense. Because
no, it does. Yeah, realism.
Yeah, and I never wrote down the date, but I imagine there was some days where I really had mental struggles and had to ask myself questions, and those would have been the toughest days, not the actual physical thing of it happening.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure when, but I would say at some point during my recovery, I've had to sit and ask questions and figure out what's next and everything. And those would have been the tough, defining days. But it's a process as well. So there would have been many broken up days. Into that. But yeah.
Fair enough. Fourth one, what's your happiest day so far?
Happiest day so far. I think, again, probably not the day of my child being born, but there was definitely days after him being born where I laid there and sat and really filled with joy. And there's same, recently climbed Mont Blanc, getting back down off the mountain. That day was really, that was a happy day.
I want to do that myself. Fucking Ali's, fuck that Mont Blanc.
So
definitely.
It's awesome.
Fifth one, mate, and final one, what's next?
So as you mentioned already, I'm planning on doing Matterhorn next summer.
Mega.
I'm trying to learn how to be better. I started learning how to snowboard last winter, so I'm trying to practice that this winter.
Cool.
Snowboarding. I think that's all I've got planned right now.
Fair enough. No, that's a fair shout. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been a fucking brilliant Eagle podcast. Thanks very much to Stephen. Just goes to show you, you know, the guy's cracking on with life. He got blown up twice on the same day. I know people who, you know, who struggle with getting out of bed on a Monday morning and they think they're having a bad session, but it just goes to show you, you know, it is what you do with your life and how you crack on. Stephen, what have you got coming up? Where can people find you? Social media, website? Go for it. Tell the world.
So social media, Instagram mainly. I don't use my Facebook that much. But Stephen.Handley. It's nice and easy. And I'm on there. Just it's a little bit random. I don't have a super set focus. You know, like sometimes it's a little bit of me and my kids. Sometimes it's, you know, family stuff, traveling stuff, physical stuff, the gym, climbing. So, you know, I'm not one of these influencers that's trying to sell some discounted supplements or whatever. So it hasn't got a super focus on it. But if you want to check it out and see what I'm up to, then that's where you can find me.
Mega. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Stephen. We're definitely having a part 2 because there's a lot that we still need to talk about, but I didn't want to shoehorn it in. Great Eagle podcast. Great to have Stephen on. This will be out ASAP. Stephen, thanks very much for coming on, Mucker. We'll catch up again soon.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.